There is a question from Yitzhak about what happens now with the oil spill on the Israel coast. Is it making the snails pasul? Is it affecting them? Is it getting to the floor?
It's actually very interesting. The oil spill along the coast, the government came out a few days ago, and said that they're banning all seafood that's caught along the coast of Israel, the northern coast of Israel, the coasts of Israel. That doesn't affect us at all because we don't get our snails from Israel because they were banned. The Nature Authority here in Israel has banned the catching of snails forever. You've never been allowed to catch snails, or actually, you're not allowed to take anything out of the coastal waters unless you have a permit, and no permit was ever given to our snails. The one exception that was made was when we first started our work back in the early 1990s, and we took out a bunch of snails, made our first Tekhelet, but then we wanted to make another batch of Tekhelet. But again, it was against the law, it was illegal. So what we did is we went to the then president of Israel, Chaim Herzog, and we went to him and we said, your father, Rav Yitzchak Isaac Halevi Herzog, wrote a doctorate in 1914 about Tekhelet. There's no one who loved Tekhelet more than your father. And we are following in his footsteps and carrying out his work. Is there any way that you can help us use a little protectia and get a, some kind of a permit to take snails out of the water? He made a couple of calls and we got a permit to take out 900 snails from the coastal waters. 900 snails is a lot of snails as far as the snails are concerned. As far as Tekhelet is concerned, it's a drop in the ocean. So This was good. We were able to make a few sets, maybe 10, 20 sets of Tekhelet. But we realized right there and then that we would never be able to commercially make Tekhelet for Am Yisrael if we relied on taking snails out of the ocean. So we went and searched. We found a place in Greece where we started getting our snails from. Then we moved to Spain. We worked with a group of people in Spain, fishermen, who helped us get snails out of the ocean, and we worked with them and broke open the snails and brought that back from Spain. And lo and behold, and we're talking about the late 90s, there was an oil spill off the southern coast of Spain, and the Spanish government banned all seafood exports from Spain. So then we were caught, and there was a number of months, maybe even a year, where we were not getting our snails. From that time on, we vowed never to be caught with our snails down. And so we always keep now a stock of at least 2 years worth of dye from the snails. Wow. So that if God forbid, we're ever in this situation, we'll be able to regroup, not have our production affected in any way, but at least we'll be able to regroup and find some other place that we can get snails from. And like I said today, mainly off the Adriatic coast, Croatia, Greece, Italy, Spain. Those areas are where we get our snails today from.
And also having more than one source, having more than one set of fishermen also helps. So there's a couple of questions. I think, well, he's saying, will it make it pasul, but they're not getting their, so Yitzhak, he's saying they're not taking their snails from Israel.
No, you don't have to get them from Israel. Listen, Yechezkel talks about Tekhelet Me'ie Elisha, which was Cyprus. Okay.
So I'm not sure, Yitzhak, how, if they're not taking yes, I guess oil spills would spoil snails because they're not letting people take seafood or things out of the water. So I'm not.
Well, I'm wondering if Yitzhak is wondering if we don't get them from Israel, is that a problem with the snails? And no, I'm saying that that's not the case. We know that in the ancient world, right, where they got snails from all over the Mediterranean.
I